Hey yo, I want you guys to drop a comment below if you had Sneako winning a debate and against Moist Critical of all people on your 2024 bingo card. And I say win with I would say it's a huge stretch, right? Because I would argue that he didn't procure his points as well as he should have in this particular debate. I think that the way that I'll just let you guys watch for yourself, but the way that Sneako went about it, I think there's definitely a better way that both of them could have gone about it, absolutely. But I mean, if you guys haven't seen already this whole debate, they went they went like neck and neck with very controversial topics. One of them being the age of consent, and one of them being turning children transgender, right? So
Somebody can.
let's just watch this real quick, just for 1 second,
Do you believe that
for a minute 23.
somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
Okay.
So Sneako is baffled and knows that he's won based off of this alone. Because how can you say that's fine? That's disgusting,
So
right? But honestly, the way I see it, I don't think that Moist is inherently evil or that he actually like think. I mean, he might think it's good, but ultimately speaking, I think he's just trying not to make enemies with the LGBTQ people and all that jazz. I think he's just trying to be very neutral, which isn't really a good thing. I would say. I think you need to always pick a side. You need to, no matter what, you need to have a stance. You need to have a backbone. You know what I'm saying? You need to stand by what you say. But
so as long
I'm gonna let this continue. Or actually, I'm gonna play it back like a few seconds, but I'm gonna let it continue.
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting, as you agree with.
As long as everyone is consenting. Okay, but here's the thing. They later on they talk about age of consent, right? So if you let's put the same energy towards the transgenderism, right? If a kid is not young enough to consent to sex, a kid is not young enough to consent to puberty blockers and things that are just going to permanently fuck their like his or her endocrine system. You know what I'm saying? His or her whole life.
okay. So as long as
If
everyone.
your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally a familial decision to make. Yeah.
Okay. So a child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married.
Well, that's a decision that now extends beyond the family because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, "I want to marry that child," yep, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
So,
no.
but it's still a personal decision. You're still
But
deciding.
it's
but no,
still,
no, but it's,
no, because there's
take the other
it's
party
more
out of
than
the
a personal
equation.
decision now.
It's a personal
It's
decision.
not.
If I'm 16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful. She's 21 years old. Her family wants to do it. My family wants to do it. You're saying I can't do that. We're both consenting. I'm ready to go. I'm physically mature, but I'm not allowed to marry because Moy says that woman's a pedophile. But if then the next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off, I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe
okay.
everyone has complete. Yep. I believe everyone has the right to do with their body what they want to do.
Oh, do you believe?
Okay, that's wild, right? That's a completely neutral stance. No sides, right? Just basically trying to pick a stance that doesn't upset anyone, which is the wrong kind of stance, by the way. You gotta pick something that you actually stand by, that you believe in. But I believe that partially that Moist might actually also be genuinely programmed by things on the internet, by things around him, like the world. You know what I'm saying? Because he even says himself in this debate that he bases his beliefs along like his worldview, right? And I mean, I guess you could say this. I mean, I guess a lot of people could say the same thing, right? But belief has to come from like within, like what you actually internally think is true, think is right. You know what I'm saying? But let's see. So this was the other like huge fragment of the debate right here. Whenever Sneako's asked about age of consent,
I'm talking about your personal beliefs. Think do you think someone in their 20s should be able to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
Someone in their 20s should be, I mean, I personally wouldn't do it. I don't know many people who would do it. The maturity for people in the teenagers in the West is it's getting much worse, but there are...
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for, and I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore, anyone, do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented, and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Well,
why would I tell them if everybody's consenting, if everybody's okay with it, if the parents are okay with it, if nobody's being harmed, if it's going to be okay, if they're both abiding by the rules and they're not hurting each other, why not?
But they're still, like, they're at best a sophomore in high school. They can't consent to something like that.
see, Moise has a solid point here, in the sense that most people in this day and age, especially in this day and age, most people are not mature enough by that age to actually think that through, like in 4D, and actually like plan and prepare for that. Most people are not. And so there has to be some sort of there has to be some sort of like regulation, some sort of ruling to prevent, you know, catastrophe from occurring, such as a 10-year-old being sent off to marry, you know, someone like way older. You know what I'm saying? Like, no child should be able to be forced into that or be manipulated into that. And the thing is, like, I think that, I think, I just, I can see where Sneako's coming from, right? Because I hear, like, up here is another video I'm going to show you guys. It's very important. Just listen to this for a second, okay?
Age of consent should be maturity. It's not even 18 in most states. Why do you even believe that? It's because in Hollywood, it's 18, so that gets pushed everywhere. Most places, 16. And if you question that, then they call you a pedo. I believe the age of consent is the age of maturity. It should be called the age of marriage. Age of consent implies that you're gonna have sex out of wedlock. I think it's better that people get married at 16, 17 than to have a bunch of premarital sex until they're 30 and they're washed up and then they get jaded and they're on birth control and they have dried up eggs. I think that's better for society.
Okay, see, when he explains it like this, I can agree with it. Because I can actually agree with it to a very large extent, in the sense of age of consent is just used for sex. It's not just used for sex, I should say. I shouldn't say that, but what I should say is that it's very much so implied, especially with today's society and this day and age and whatnot. But how he explained this is that it should be the age of marriage, because that's basically what it should be, right? Because if you're gonna choose to go and be with somebody for the rest of your life, especially at age 16, 17 years old, you better have that thought through carefully, because that's early on in your life. That's really early in your life. You're so young, dude. I'm young too, and I'm not even ready for marriage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm mature enough, but I'm not saying that I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because I was mature enough long ago, that doesn't mean everybody else is. Because everybody else is different. See, that's his point too. Everybody's different. Everybody matures differently, right? There are men and women out there who hit that maturity, like both mentally and physically, early on in their life. They grew up fast, but then there's other people, like on the other hand of the spectrum, right? You have like people on this side who don't really reach that maturity until the age of between 20 and 25. Because 25, I guess according to like research or whatever, is whenever your brain is actually fully developed. And so that can be used as an argument too, but I mean, I'm not going to use like research or anything like that. I'm going to use like what I see, like facts like the real facts, like just perception too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that he's completely right, but I'm saying that he's got a point, and it would be impossible to dismiss that point, right? Like he is onto something. He he is genuinely like speaking for something. He the way and at the end here, when he says how, hold on,
Eyes, you're gonna have sex out of wedlock.
it implies that you're just gonna have, yeah. I mean, it basically that's what I was saying earlier. It basically implies it,
I think
and I agree with his stance. I think it's better for people to get married than to have a bunch of immoral premarital sex until they're 30 and washed up, basically. You know what I mean? Like that's what's going to happen to you if you don't actually one take care of yourself, two surround yourself with the right person. You know what I mean? And the right people. You have to. You have to find that special someone. And when he was previously asked about age of consent, he really didn't answer the question very well on his previous debate with Destiny here.
What is a developed age? If you had to
It's
set a
across
law
the-
for it, what would you set it?
well,
Because he likes to give the answer of a developed age, which is very vague, very, very broad, right? But it's also kind of not wrong because if you're actually grown up and you're fully developed and you have that decision made for yourself and you want to be with that person or whatever, all power to you, right? But I would like to say along the whole lines of like the whole age difference thing or whatever, I have personally a nuanced point of view when it comes to that. I think that like like a 2 or 3 year difference, no matter what the ages are, it doesn't mean anything, man. Like they're only 2 or 3 years apart. It's very, very marginal, very close, right? These people can relate to each other on a very solid level still because they're not entirely out of the generation, you know what I mean? Like they're still part of your generation. They're still like very close to you in age. You can relate to them, you can connect with them like so well. However, I believe that an age gap is absolutely important. You shouldn't date anybody who is at least like 6 years older than you or 10 years older than you. That's what I think personally. You guys can feel free to agree or disagree with that. I don't care. This is my point of view, and that's what I'm going to stand on. But then at some point during the debate, they um or sorry, not they, Critical actually brought up an outside name, completely different, like not completely different, but I would say, and I wouldn't say completely irrelevant either, but I would say irrelevant to in terms of the conversation, right? Like he shouldn't have had to throw Nick Fuentes under the bus, but he really tried to because he tried to just defame him and Sneako, right? But like, watch this clip.
he doesn't he doesn't even agree with your existence. He doesn't like race mixing.
Not liking race mixing, he doesn't hate me.
He does. Like,
Okay, first point I'm gonna make here. Within the first 10 seconds, you can hate race mixing, but you don't have to hate like mixed people. You can still love people. You can just choose to have a stance that you don't agree with. Personally, I don't like race mixing either, but I don't hate you if you race mix.
he actually does, though.
No, he doesn't. I know he's a good friend of mine. We're friends.
No,
And I mean that in the sense of I would never want to cross date other races personally. That's just not who I am. I like my white women. What can I say? But it's not even just that. It's the fact that I want to like actually preserve my own race and my own genes, and so you can't really do that whenever you commingle with, say, a complete different race, right? And I'm not even gonna like point out the obvious here, but there was also, genuinely speaking, like from my own research, my own experience, like my own perception of not even just like on the internet, but in life in general. I've seen more often than not cases where race mixing has gone wrong. And the simple factor of that is that they're incompatible. the way I see it is that they're incompatible, for the most part, right? There are race mixed couples out there who are that are beautiful, and that make it successful up there. I'm not dismissing that. What I am saying is that 9 times out of 10 it doesn't go right for either the parents or the kid or both. But let's continue this.
Rather, he is vocal about being against race mixing.
He wants to continue the white race because the Zionists are trying to destroy the white race. They encourage.
And what Sneako says about this is actually pretty true. If you've been paying attention, then you already know.
They encourage. I understand his point of view 100%.
Wait, Bobby Kennedy's trending now. That's interesting.
Do I agree with his views completely? No. Does he agree with my views completely? No. We're different religions. This person is the future president of America because white people are being decimated right now. All of Europe is being completely diluted very quickly. In America, the immigrants are flooding through.
Decimate is a strong word, but I would actually have to agree. I think that there is an absolute war. Like, I discussed this in my previous video, right? There's not even just like the physical wars, but the spiritual wars too. And one of these like real wars that are happening is the war on the white race. And you can see it in broad daylight out in those European countries, and even in the great country of America, the United States of America, you can see the open border crisis just doing work. You know what I'm saying? Bringing in all those colored folk, all the Chinese people, and it's not good if we don't make a stand. But I'm still hopeful for America.
Like there's no sense of white identity anymore. You're white. You're not. Are you white?
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to say white power. Isn't that crazy?
Okay. He disagrees with race mixing, and you think that's okay?
Disagrees. Exactly. I think that's fine.
Why?
Because you can have your opinion as long as it's not hateful. If he wants to further hit the white race and all this stuff, if he wants to have nationalistic beliefs, fine, go ahead. I'm not going to tell you stop. Same reason I believe Japanese people should continue to Japan. If you can find a clip where he says hate.
Fuentes.
Boom. Right there. Boom. You can have your own opinion, man.
Said race mixing should be reported to the FBI. That seems a little more than a disagreement.
I think that was satire to a degree, to a very large degree.
That's clearly a joke, bro. That's clearly a joke.
Oh, now it's a joke when there's a clip of it.
Okay. Do you? Okay, you're gonna really sit here and say that he unironically believes that race mixing should be reported to the FBI? No, be real, because that's so obviously facetious, and this is why clips and headlines and the fake. This is why fake Zionist news controls the minds of people. Do you actually believe that he thinks people should call the FBI and say I'm reporting race mixing? Do you believe that, or was he being facetious?
He's being exaggeratory for his hatred.
Okay.
What you were saying there at the end about how the Zionists like to paint the picture or whatever, make these fake news. It's actually, I mean, obviously we all know that's true, and there's too many gullible people out there who don't think for themselves or don't look deeply into things, and therefore they believe anything that they see right in front of them. It's just kind of nuts, right? But
the point is, though, there's a specific type of person that dominates the platforms, and it's becoming really easy to spot nowadays.
I guess another huge pointer here is the whole algorithm and the whole the whole fact that these people are not speaking up about the situation, like Pokimane, for instance, right? You'll see why here in a second.
Right, the queen of Twitch, the king of Twitch in a sense, Pokimane. If you even go to I just got unbanned on Twitch. If you look at the creator dashboard, you see her face right there as if she's the CEO. The #1 YouTuber in the world is Mr. Beast, and he promotes transgenderism. Pokimane believes in transgenderism. She also did call her Chris Tyson.
That's what I was talking about in my Chris Tyson video, by the way. It's no coincidence, right? I'm gonna look it up for you again. You guys have seen it before. Mr. Beast. Oh my gosh, he's getting 1 million more subs since I've checked. 306 million subscribers now. That's crazy. You don't get there by accident, for one. For two, he blatantly promotes it because he doesn't stand against it. If you're not against it, you're for it.
There's a specific narrative that they're so clearly trying to push. The people that are algorithm favored, the people that get banned are always people like me, always people like us, people that love everyone, people that love God, people that want marriage, who want a better society. The people that are allowed want kids to cut their penises off. And that's not an accident. It's very intentional.
I like what he said there. Because, I mean, it even says that in the Bible too. If you read the Bible, that the world does hate you if you're a child of God, and that if you actually love everybody, the world just hates you because the world is full of it. The world's full of hate. It's just how it is. And also when it comes to like the Nick Fuentes situation, he even spoke up about it on his own stream.
Sneako is such a ride or die. Amazing job on Michael Tracy interview, always getting to the vital points of your criticism of our fallen leader. Sad face.
You guys have been able to hear these the whole time, right? I haven't been playing them too quiet.
You will succeed him, though all we need is time.
Let me know if the audio is okay, by the way, in the comments below, please.
Love you, my brother. By the way, congrats on the 90K on Rumble.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, we love Sneako. Sneako's very loyal and a good guy. Yeah, Moist Critical, who's just like a total cuck. He's like, oh, Nick hates you because you're mixed race. When have I ever said that? If anything, I get criticized because I'm not racist enough. So, guy just seems like a archetypal soy boy.
I think it's another $100. Holy shit, dude. These donations are crazy. But, I mean, there you go. And let's see, what else came from that debate? Oh, I don't know if you guys saw or not, but there was like a post-stream like clip of, I think both, well, not post-stream for Sneako, that was a separate like clip from something else, but this was like post-stream for Critical, right? So this is how he ended his stream that night.
You can get therapy, you can go through the process of making that decision. I thought that's what it was. I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole with the dick cutting off shit. I thought that's what we were talking about. And then if you decide that's the path you want to take, it is your body.
Wait, you thought he was talking in hyperbole to that? Hold on. Let's look up the definition real quick, guys. So, obviously, we know that he wasn't even exaggerating when he was saying that. I'm gonna cut that out. But, okay, dude.
You can.
No, he was not exaggerating one bit. He wasn't speaking in hyperbole. He was speaking for real, because that's exactly what they do to the poor kids that are manipulated. But anyway.
I thought that's what we were talking about. And then if you decide that's the path you want to take, it is your body. You can do that. You can make that decision once you become of age to make a decision like that. I just don't understand how it got so muddled. Half of the fucking conversation was hyperbole, and apparently that one was literal. Or it's a very malicious attack on what I'm trying to say, or a misunderstanding. I don't know. I don't know. But I think I'm just going to call it there. Alright. Take it easy. Have a good night. See ya.
Oh, and apparently there's some there was a response from. Okay, yeah, wait. The other clip I was referring to was this one right here, where he actually like calls out and shows respect for him for talking to him, because it's, you know, I personally think it takes a lot of guts to actually, one, get on the internet and talk about those controversial topics, two, to talk to somebody else and to debate them on those topics, right? People who are obviously people who have a clearly different stance than yours.
Credit to Moist Critical, and I want to be let's be respectful to him for even being willing to have that conversation. It takes balls to do it. You know how many people are going to be willing to have a conversation like that? Not many. Not many YouTubers, and he's probably the biggest YouTube commentator in the world. And I was thinking about that in the airport talking to Needles. He's all fine now. But when it comes to YouTube commentators, he's probably the biggest in the world. What is he have? 15 million subscribers. His reputation is like long withstanding. The chat just froze. And he's not a bad person. He's just brainwashed, because when you're the number one commentator on YouTube, all the satanic goy slop that YouTube is drip feeding to everybody else, we're seeing it exposed to Christmas Remise and all this stuff. It's gonna go into your brain too. Moist Critical, yep. Actually, I can see.
That's what I was saying earlier. How Moist is probably to some extent like programmed.
That he believes the stuff that he's repeating. It's not like he's just using contracts. It's not like he has a Zionist manager, or he's trying to appease the LGBT queer mafia that dominates YouTube. He actually believes this. He's the product of 10 years of commentating on YouTube and being a part of that propaganda. But there's a genuine, there's something genuine there. And
There's a guy in chat named Sneako's wife's boyfriend. Oh my goodness.
and he would not have this conversation with me if he wasn't genuine. So props to him.
What is going
Wallahi,
on?
I mean that. I think he's a good person, and hopefully we continue to have conversations like that in the future. I thought it was respectful. We didn't have a moderator. Maybe, and I don't want to have a moderator for like stuff like that. Like, I think we were both respectful. I appreciated his willingness. I thought that he was respectful. I thought it went well for 2.5 hours. I want to go over that debate from yesterday. If you didn't see it, put me if you saw it. Put me if you saw it. I want to see if you guys were in there yesterday. I was surprised.
Yeah, this whole thing is just crazy, dude. And then there's another one here where apparently Keemstar like had his stance of they both lost, and I can actually kind of agree. They both kind of didn't make their points well at all, but I would say that overall Sneako held his ground and actually made his stance so much more clear and more head on than critical, right? Like, he actually chose a stance, whereas critical was
Keemstar.
more so making of an attempt to remain neutral and not pick enemies, right?
Keemstar. Critical versus Sneako debate scorecard. Critical -10 points. Sneako -10 points. Both lose by TKO. Hey, Keemstar, you're coping. You're trying to say that I'm a bad person for saying 16-year-olds can get married. Adults can get married after they reach puberty because you receive so much backlash for being 45 and marrying a 19-year-old. So you're using me to try to deflect the cancel culture off of you. Stop lying. Tell me why you disagree with what I said. Adults can't get married? If you don't believe that 16-year-old can get married, then what is an adult? Is it the legal definition? Why am I wrong?
So he actually kind of has a point here. He does. Okay? Not only does he have a point, but Keemstar of all people shouldn't be the one to get into this conversation, right? Especially given his relationship. I'm sure you guys know that Keemstar recently got married to this very young blonde girl. Don't remember her name, but basically she's like 19, he's 45. Very large age difference, makes me want to throw up. But basically, he has no grounds to make a opinion on this. To be honest. I mean, everybody can have their opinion, right? Like, I'm always respectful of that, but
The only reason he's saying both sides are wrong is because this conversation is the most difficult to have, and no one has the balls to talk about it except for me. All right, let's be real, bro. And it's not even exposed. This is public
I'll talk about it any day of the week.
information.
I don't give a fuck. Let me go back a bit.
Be real, bro. And it's not even exposed. This is public information. I remember seeing this on Twitter all the time. Every time anybody would call out Keemstar, they would say, "You're a pedo. You married a 19-year-old." Do I think it's bad that Keemstar married a 19-year-old? He's 45. No, I don't. But I know that the pressure gets to him.
See, I don't give a fuck, but I just think it's gross. That's just what I think. I don't give a fuck either way. I mean, let them be happy, whatever. They live their life. I just think it's nasty.
Stop capping. See, I actually love you. I haven't seen your vids in a Keemstar.
It's like, why couldn't you just find a girl your own age who looks just as good? Because I promise you that there are really beautiful, like 40 to 50 plus year olds out there. You just have to find them. They're not. I don't think they're terribly hard to find. But either way, man, I want to know what you guys think about this whole situation. Drop a comment below if you agree or disagree with any of these takes, any of my takes. You know what I'm saying? Where you guys stand at? I'm very curious. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like. Be sure to share with your friends and subscribe to the channel for more. And peace out.
How many bitches wanna fuck with me?
Doom shot, motherfucker.
How many bitches wanna fuck with me?